On July 21st, 2025, my colleagues and I drove up to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware to interview my grandma.
How was the trip? Good?
It was good.
My name is Susan Jimenez. I'm a retired businesswoman. I'm a mother, a grandmother, and I'm gay.
I'd love to go to the start of the story. Where does the story start, you think, I guess?
I met John
Yeah.
when we were in college together, and we moved to Montgomery County. He worked at the Bureau of Standards, and I worked as a classroom teacher in Burtonsville, Maryland. And, we had a very nice life together, but we very much grew apart. And I found that my interests and satisfaction was really more in being with women, and not necessarily in a physical, sexual way, but just for reinforcement and friendship. And I don't regret ever being with John. He gave me 3 of the most wonderful kids in the world, and smart kids. But, it served its purpose and
ran its course.
After
the divorce in 1979, my grandmother started exploring her sexuality and met her first same-sex partner while working at the Silver Spring YMCA. In this interview, my grandma will refer to her as Experiment 1.
I saw many other women who came out at the same time that I came out, who had many experiments. And I just felt like that wouldn't be fair to my kids to be disruptive and to bring other people into our household. After John and I divorced, about 4 years into it, he had already married and decided that they should sue for custody and declare me an unfit mother.
While the divorce between my grandparents seemed to have little to do with my grandma's sexuality, it became a primary focus in the custody battle. The subject of whether she was a fit mother was really just a guise for homophobia.
Luckily, we had made the decision to come to Montgomery County because the decisions that were being made in the court were far more favorable for lesbian mothers. And so we had people from work come and be character witnesses for me. The judge interviewed my 3 children. And then Experiment 1 came up and gave the most touching. I mean, she's not a verbose woman or a woman with great speech, but she's talked about, she knew what a good mother was because of her own mother. But she said, I really found out. I'm going to cry now. I really found out what a good mother was when I met Susan. So.
To better understand what challenges my grandma faced during her custody battle, we reached out to Susan Silber, Tacoma Park City Attorney from 1981 to 2017. Throughout her career, she was a fierce advocate for numerous issues that LGBTQIA parents would face.
I think I also told you the story of a gay father I was representing. We arrived at court one day, and the mother was just rabid. She was so furious that he was gay. The judge just looked at her and said, "Ma'am, this case is not about him. This case is about what's best for your children."
Right, exactly.
Susan Silber would face hostility and discrimination, not only as a lesbian, but also as the lawyer defending LGBTQIA plus parents.
I have this one specific memory because it was so painful. In the morning, I was in court in front of a particular judge representing Tacoma Park as the city attorney. And I was treated really respectfully and honorably. In the afternoon, I was in front of the same judge on a lesbian custody case representing the lesbian parent. And the difference in the way I was treated was night and day. I felt totally dishonored. I felt like he wasn't listening to me or my arguments. I believe he ruled against me. I'm not sure. But I felt so bad that when I went back to my parked car, I remember I just broke down and cried. I just cried and cried.
So how did being lesbian show up? Were they discussing that in the courtroom?
Yes, yes. They tried to say that I was out there at all the Pride days and all the parades. I felt like I was at a disadvantage because I did have a lawyer with me, but your grandfather was a lawyer, and then you've got the judges, and then, I felt like everything was sort of stacked against me, but I just went in honestly and tried to portray who I really was.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I will say that we have been to one or two prides. I've been to a pride recently up in New York City. But, I was definitely on the outskirts looking in. I'm not in there marching or anything.
Yeah. It seems unheard of now that going to Pride could be grounds for losing your kids. We decided to talk to community members at the 2025 Silver Spring Pride in the Plaza to understand how the community gathers around local Pride celebrations.
How do you feel that the LGBTQIA plus community is represented here in MoCo?
It's fantastic. We need it now more than ever. And honestly, it can be so hard to find community, I found, especially, in college and stuff. So it's nice to see everyone gathering together. So.
I think it's doing a great job. Obviously there's always going to be room to grow, especially in this administration. But I think Montgomery County is doing an amazing job putting together this festival every year. It's probably my third year going to it. And every year I've seen it getting bigger and better and just way more inclusive. And I see way more families every year. So I think they're doing an amazing job.
It's so important to have events like this, Pride in the Plaza, here in downtown Silver Spring, because it's a very accessible place to come. People can easily get here by metro or bus. But it's so important right now because of a lot that's happening and the attacks on the LGBTQ plus community to really lift up the joy and the resilience of the community, because those who are targeting the community really want, they want people to stop resisting. They want people to stay home. And what we need to show is that we're not going anywhere. And no matter what happens in the White House or the Supreme Court, we're still here in Montgomery County, and we're going to fight for the rights of all of our residents and make sure that we're supporting our LGBTQIA plus community.
To further understand the present LGBTQIA plus experiences in Montgomery County, we sat down with Gabrielle Zui, a musician, educator, and community organizer. They were appointed to the Rockville Human Rights Commission at 18 years old and joined the Montgomery County Committee Against Hate and Violence at 21 years old.
So the Human Rights Commission, among many other projects, they began Rockville's annual Pride celebration in 2017. And we still do an annual Pride festival in June, Pride Month, every single year in Rockville. And I'm now the lead of that planning committee, and it's a really fun time. This year we had more sponsorships than we've ever had before for Rockville Pride, and I think it had a lot to do with national corporations kind of backing away from wanting to publicly be a big part of Pride Month, and then local businesses really stepping up and saying like, okay, we're going to fill this gap. We're going to show at this time where we really need to show like what side we're on and who we're supporting, like we're going to go and be there.
Soon after the first Pride in Montgomery County, the 2017 Rockville Pride, Evan Glass was elected and became Montgomery County's first openly gay council member in 2018. In 2019, he helped officially recognize and promote Rockville Pride, marking the first MoCo Pride to have local government by its side. He made it a point to make the LGBTQIA plus community visible.
When I first got elected, I wanted to have Pride events all throughout Montgomery County, and I realized there really weren't any. People were going to DC, they're going to Baltimore, they're going to Frederick County, and I said, why aren't we having any events here in Montgomery County? And the very first thing I wanted to do was raise the Pride flag in Rockville. It was a really celebratory day. And then what happened was people didn't like it. There was a large group of people, not only in Montgomery County, but it started going viral. And I started seeing and hearing about people's displeasure because they were emailing me, tweeting me, and calling my office phone. So my office, would be receiving all these hateful phone calls, and my staff were telling me that people were calling in using just terrible language and being hostile about what we had just done. And it got so bad for my staff that we stopped answering our phones for 3 days. I'm an elected official. I have thick skin. I can take the criticism. But for my staff who want to help people with rental assistance, help fill potholes, and make sure people have food on their table, they should not be subjected to the bigotry and the homophobia that we were hearing on the phone. And so after 3 days, we started answering our phones again, and it subsided. But then the next year, we raised the pride flag again, and there was still hate, but we persisted and we kept answering the phone and raising the pride flag. And this year, when we did it again, we didn't get any nasty phone calls.
Another crucial aspect of my grandma's story is her experience as a federal worker. From 1980 to 1994, my grandma was employed by the Department of Defense. While it afforded her more financial security as far as raising my mom, my aunt, and my uncle, it also came with its own challenges.
With different people, it's different as far as getting security clearances. I did not have to take a lie detector test for my clearances. Yeah, and so I mainly had to fill out a questionnaire, and I did lie about it.
The questionnaire said?
Oh yeah.
What
yes,
was
very
the question?
Specifically.
That's crazy to imagine.
Yeah, they were very pointed, very specific questions about female acts, and have you ever been with?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Kind of up until the 80s, there was the Lavender Scare where the government and the federal workers were scared of all these gay people getting into federal
And they claim
work.
that the reason for that was that they could, be threatened or blackmailed or something because people would get secrets on them, and the Russians would come in and know that, and they'd make you turn over secrets.
And this was mid-AIDS crisis too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that also an aspect of kind of it's very dangerous to be associated with any kind of LGBTQ identity because of how...
No, it was very specifically, it's dangerous to be around gay men.
Yeah.
I do know a couple of gay men that worked for us, and one was very sick. And when he didn't come back to work, they came in and totally sanitized his work area and wiped down the chairs. And it's that isn't exactly what you need to worry about.
The Lavender Scare was real, and it was scary for members of the community who just wanted to help serve our country and serve our community, to know that they were being fired or being watched and being spied on for being themselves. It was a really scary time. And there are echoes of that happening now, where people's social media posts are being scoured to see who they've hung out with, what they've said, what their politics are. It is the Lavender Scare and the Red Scare all combined into one.
Where do you see the future for LGBTQ people in Montgomery County, people who are federal workers, people who have kids, who have families?
Well, I have to believe that the pendulum is going to swing back. I think about my dad and when he came to this country, and they didn't have proof of anything.
Yeah.
All that they had, we have a letter from the Catholic priest in Mexico that said, Juan Jimenez is a good man. He's got 19 children. He's a hardworking man. He's very skilled at doing a lot of things. So that's the only credential we needed to get into the country.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And if he had only had that today, it
wouldn't mean anything.
In the wake of the Trump administration's attacks on LGBTQIA+ people, many are worried. Harmful stigmas are being amplified, as seen through the 972 anti-trans bills introduced to the states in the year of 2025 alone, and huge strides of progress are being threatened, as seen with the Supreme Court being formally asked to overturn same-sex marriage on August 11th, 2025.
Have any concerns about the stability of marriage equality as a legal thing?
Absolutely. But it doesn't change the way that I love Kathy. It doesn't change how we interact with each other, how we spend our money, how we sleep together, how we travel. None of that changes. But the worry for me is for the people coming after me, that they won't have the same privilege.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's come before me, come before us to fight for our rights, to make sure that we can live our lives truly and authentically as we want, because civil rights are perpetual struggles. Sometimes it's one step forward, two steps back, but we got to keep fighting. And I just want to thank everybody who fought before me and who will continue to fight for all of us moving forward.
So, where does this leave us today? While there are many threats facing LGBTQIA+ residents, Montgomery County is standing strong and united through law, government, and community to protect all of its inhabitants. My grandma had to hide who she is to protect her livelihood and her family. However, let this film be evidence that Moco residents are not prepared to turn back anytime soon. I urge LGBTQ+ residents and their allies to stay organized and continue being in community. Together is how we fight back.
What I wanted to say is, for anybody who cares, we have an absolutely wonderful life. I can't even think of any way it could be any better. We've been together 34 years. We've been married since 2013. Our anniversary is coming up the 28th of this month. And I look around at straight people, and we're happier than any straight people I ever laid eyes on.